I'll bring you the tea, but I'm not one to engage in gossip. Greetings from Chronicle Speaks. Even if Diddy is exonerated of the RICO allegations, his reputation will still be damaged. He will live the rest of his life with the baby oil label and the no Diddy jokes. Diddy was acquitted of the charges of conspiracy, racketeering, and sex trafficking. He was convicted on 2 charges of transporting someone to engage in prostitution, though. Diddy's attorneys now contend that he never earned a dime from prostitution, emphasizing that the Mann Act was designed to target individuals such as pimps or those operating extensive sex enterprises. They also asserted that he didn't actively plan their trip and never had sex with any of the male escorts, instead depicting him as a voyeur who enjoyed watching his ex-girlfriends with other guys. Diddy's team is asking for either a new trial to at least give him another chance without the RICO evidence and the trafficking accusations, or an acquittal that would completely overturn the convictions because the law doesn't apply. However, the prosecution is retaliating. They claim in their most recent filing that the jury was correct and that there is ample proof of prostitution. They contend that Diddy was the driving force behind everything. He planned the trip, gave the escorts thousands of dollars, oversaw the performances, and occasionally even participated. Furthermore, they emphasized that this was more than just a friendly game. Additionally, drugs, pressure, and even blackmail were used against the government. This wasn't some kind of art or lifestyle decision. This was outright interstate prostitution, which is precisely what the Mann Act was intended to prevent. Diddy faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, with 10 years for each charge and 43 days till sentencing. This story and a lot more will be discussed. To ensure you don't miss any updates on this case or anything else, please make sure to ring the bell for notifications and subscribe to this channel before we do. Let's get back to it now. Diddy is undoubtedly feeling like, I've had to battle for my life at this point. After having his bail repeatedly denied, he will soon be serving a full year in prison. And with these 2 convictions still hanging over Diddy's head, there's a good chance he may still face some very substantial jail time. Diddy now thinks that the RICO allegations were merely a pressure tactic used to skew the jury's verdict. Diddy wants to dispel these 2 beliefs, and he wants a completely fresh trial if he is unable to. He wishes to begin anew from scratch. RICO was created to target criminal businesses, cartels, mob lords, and organized crime. Diddy feels that by giving him this designation, prosecutors framed him as the head of a full-fledged criminal enterprise rather than just a person battling accusations. He is attempting to convey that the jury was considering more than just specific actions, such as parties or travel, when they heard the case. In reality, they were viewing things from the perspective of racketeering. Furthermore, it might have been more difficult for Diddy to claim that there were misunderstandings or that this was all entertainment if that view alone had changed the balance. Diddy and his group contended that the Mann Act wasn't implemented correctly in his situation. They claimed that it was unconstitutional, ambiguous, and shouldn't apply to his actions. They contend that rather than prostitution, his actions were more akin to adult entertainment. Additionally, they said that the evidence was insufficient to convict him. None of these points, according to the government's latest submission, belongs in this kind of motion. Diddy ought to have made that claim before the trial, not after a guilty verdict if he believed the statute did not apply. They maintain that the man's conduct is obvious. SX for money or its equivalent is considered prostitution.
They are emphasizing that the jury's guilty judgment was well supported by the evidence, and that Diddy controlled the women by directing the escorts, filming and using the footage as blackmail, and even threatening them with money. Important information from the trial's evidence. The government claims that Diddy provided both male and female escorts for these events, both domestically and abroad. Cassie Ventura described years of abuse, domination, and coercion into multi-day drug-fueled sex sessions in her testimony. Moreover, Jane recounted comparable hotel evenings in which escorts were flown in, paid thousands, and made to perform. Additionally, both ladies said that Diddy had filmed them and then threatened to use the video as extortion. Additionally, witnesses detailed instances of Diddy's abuse, including beatings, which were supported by images and videos. Additionally, the government is opposing Diddy's request for a fresh trial. They claim that the jury had carefully considered the evidence because of the split result, which found the defendant guilty of the Mann Act, but not guilty of RICO or trafficking. There are no legal justifications for a do-over or undue bias. the judge is being urged by the prosecution to reject Diddy's motion outright. They claim that Diddy's arguments are merely attempts to amend the law after the fact, and that the jury made the correct decision because of the overwhelming evidence. What comes next then? After considering the arguments from both parties, the judge will determine whether to reverse the verdict, allow for a new trial, or uphold the conviction. The chances are stacked against Diddy because these motions are typically denied altogether. Therefore, sentencing will take place on October 3rd if the judge rejects this request, which is likely to happen under Judge Subramanian. This will only apply to 2 Mann Acts. Additionally, Diddy faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. Due to the judge's discretion, he may additionally receive a sentence that takes into account the evidence of coercion, aggression, and the use of DRG that surfaced during the trial, in addition to the convictions, even on the counts in which he was found not guilty by the jury. As we are all aware, this case has already changed the public's perception of Diddy. Rumors concerning the freak-offs circulated in the entertainment industry for years. These rumors have now resulted in federal convictions supported by bank receipts, travel logs, recordings, and testimony. The government portrays him as a man who used his wealth and influence as a weapon to take advantage of women and manipulate everyone around him, rather than as a music magnate who throws extravagant parties. Furthermore, it doesn't end there. Diddy may file an appeal to the Second Circuit even after being sentenced, but these cases are drawn out, costly, and difficult to win. He will continue to be imprisoned in the meantime, most likely in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where he has previously been for about a year. In summary, the government recently stated that Diddy's legal battle is not going to finish anytime soon, but he is at a loss on what to do. Music, celebrity, or image are no longer relevant here. It concerns whether one of the most well-known figures in hip-hop will serve 10 years or longer in federal prison. I would like to ask you a question. Do you think Diddy will be able to appeal this decision if the judge decides to reject his motion, or do you think this is the end of the road for him? You know how we do if you leave a comment. We will discuss it further below. See you all later. Goodbye. Thank you for watching as always. To ensure you don't miss any of my next episodes, please remember to press the bell, like this video, and subscribe to this channel before you leave.